Welcome to another edition of the Gridiron Report. I'm Jarret Johnson. I'm joined by the mighty Joe Yeager. Mighty Joe, man, we've been going through the roster, Texas Tech football roster, position group by position group. We're to the final group where we could have split it up in cornerbacks and safeties, but I don't want to. I want to talk about all the defensive backs today. Spring ball getting started. I think this is the perfect time to wrap it up. So let's talk about defensive back. It's a much maligned position group, as most defensive backfields in the Big 12, to be quite honest. Texas Tech certainly is no different. A lot of questions for that secondary, and they've really changed a lot of things around. Anderson, the defensive coordinator, has moved to the secondary. He's going to be, instead of coaching linebackers, he's going to be coaching defensive backs. They brought in Yeager Jones from Duke, who spent a dozen years out there. They have some familiarity with him. He's a highly touted coach. He's going to coach a lot of the cornerbacks, he told me. So look, Joe, I want to get from you, like, what do you think about the returning defensive backs, and where is there? Let's look at some optimistic take before we go into, like, okay, they struggled mightily. Everybody know, if you're a Tech fan, you know they struggled mightily last year in the secondary. But what are you looking like? What players are you looking forward to this spring? Who needs to take that next step?
Yeah, I think there are some positives just from the standpoint of, listen, Tech secondary was dreadful last year, and this staff knows it, and so they've taken steps to try to solve the problems. Yeah. I mean, in terms of the coaching, with Yeager Jones and Patterson shifting his responsibility back towards the DBs, they understand the gravity of the situation, and that is arguably the crucial position that has to be improved next year if they're going to do anything. So they understand that. Another great thing is moving Adrian Fry from safety back to corner. Listen, that was a failed experiment. That was your swing and your miss. But that's all in the past. We can forget about it. I mean, if he can go back to corner and play like he did as a freshman, or even improve over that, suddenly things look up a little bit there.
I really like Zach McPherson too.
And Zach McPherson, or Zach McPherson. I always that E gets me every time.
Me too.
He was really, really, really good. You didn't swing and miss on him.
No.
He was. He may have been probably was your best overall defensive back, in my opinion. Last year. So and he should improve as well. So with that, you're in really good shape. The big issue is obviously safety.
I think safety is an issue. I think depth is an issue because there's some guys on the roster who've been here for a while, but they haven't done anything. Guys who can't even get on the field in some cases, and you're kind of wondering, like, can these guys step up? Can these guys play some meaningful minutes? Because you're going to suffer some attrition. Guys are going to go down with injuries. Like DeMarcus Fields is a good example. He's been really good when healthy, but when he's injured, he misses a lot of games. But also, when he's not 100%, you can see it out there. So, and you need guys who could step in. You need the Adrian Taylors to step in and be able to play. You need a Thomas Leggett to play. And Thomas Leggett is a guy, he brings a lot in run support, but he really struggled in coverage. The secondary in general, I think outside of McPherson last year, really struggled in coverage. So that's going to be something I'm going to be paying attention in spring ball.
Yeah, that's the big mystery is who you're really going to plug in there at safety, and obviously the depth. You're going to be relying on some recruits and hopefully a grad transfer or three to help shore things up back there. So what we're going to be looking at in the spring is not going to be the entire secondary group that we're going to see in fall, fortunately. But some of these guys that have been on the roster and you haven't seen anything out of them all this time, what happens when they plug those guys in? But they couldn't get on the field with last year's group, then what does that say? So, but hopefully we'll get some surprises out of that group, and some people will emerge. They need to.
Yeah, I could confirm for you, they're definitely targeting some grad transfers at safety to add before the season. But on the other hand, they have some freshmen coming in. And there's one guy you and I have talked about a lot. Heard Coach Wells actually mention, both on the record and just in general, talk about how excited he is about him, is Nate Floyd, a possible guy who can come in and play some corner for you. Now, I'm always skeptical or hesitant to say, look, this freshman's going to be able to step in, especially play corner in the Big 12. But I really like this guy as an athlete all around. He was a big-time player for A&M Consolidated. He did a little bit of everything for them. So I'm cautiously optimistic that he could come in and at least make an impact at some point in the season, Joe.
Yeah, he should definitely be in the rotation, I think. I mean, just looking at his film, if anybody can step in, I mean, this is a guy who is way, way underrated in my opinion.
He actually made a big jump late in the rankings.
Well, I think he had to have been one of the top few cornerback prospects in the state of Texas, and so I expect him to be really big and be a major factor. What about a guy named like the Daquan Watts?
Yeah.
What's going to happen with him? I mean, he's got the speed. He's got a kind of a rangy frame. Yeah. If the strength and conditioning guys have been getting with him and putting something on him, then maybe he's a factor at safety somewhere. So anyway, that's another guy to look at. Oh,
there's several guys. That's why I'm so like the big question in this position, like we said in our spring ball preview, is one of the biggest questions for us is like, what are they going to do? Not just from a scheme wise, but personnel wise. And then how different is it going to look between spring ball and then fall camp? So there's a lot of questions. I think, like you said, maybe perhaps the biggest reason for optimism is that the coaches are obviously very aware that this is like ground zero of what they need to fix on defense. So we'll see what they do. I'm looking forward to seeing just how it plays out throughout spring. But Joe, great stuff on this entire series. You've done a really good job. I think I speak for everyone in saying your insight's been tremendous. I think we all learned a little bit about all the position groups from your knowledge. So great stuff from you.
Thank you.
Thank you all for watching, and until next time.